Hello and welcome to a special episode of Iain Explains. This week, Rosalie McCann asks, could you explain Star Wars? It baffles me still. Honestly, no. If I made a video explaining Star Wars, it would be the most boring video ever made. I could talk about it for hours, and as far as I was concerned, you still wouldn't get it. So what I've managed to do is find someone who hasn't seen it before and got them to explain it. Wow, Iain, your show's so diverse. Yeah, I know. Without further ado, the very charming and very funny Kerry Abercrombie, everyone!
I am a bona fide Star Wars virgin. We've just watched A New Hope. The film opens with a bit of reading to do, which I think happens at the start of every Star Wars film. And then we go to like some kind of spaceship where the shiny guy at C-3PO and R2-D2 are cutting about. Princess Leia leaves a message. She leaves a message by stuffing a floppy disk into like his mouth slit. And then what? She gets a bit emo about it and she asks to be saved. We also on the ship meet Darth Vader, who comes in. He basically is a bully and he physically and mentally abuses the people on the Death Star. And in one scene we actually see him pick a man up by his throat and then ask him a question and then kill him before he gets an answer. Defeats the purpose of asking questions.
But that's what he does.
Yeah, well, he's never going to get anywhere, is he, if he's just f***ing killing people. Okay, so the pod lands on Tatooine, and then R2-D2 says something, we don't know what, because he speaks in robot. C-3PO takes a bitch fit. Then they're taken into Luke Skywalker and Mr. and Mrs. Skywalker's house. The moisture farm. Luke's giving it all. Then C-3PO's like, look mate, I know about some stuff and you didn't want to be out there. Like, we've seen it, we've done it, we've been there, we've lived that. It's not the kind of life that you want. Luke Skywalker's like, oh my god, you've been there. And then they're like, totally. And then R2-D2's like, shut up, why are you saying that? And then like the wee hologram Princess Leia comes out. Help me, Obi-Wan, you're my only hope. He says something like, oh yeah, you're so small, there's no way you're going to be able to outrun me. But then he decides that instead of looking after this robot that he's just set free to go and stare wistfully at the two sons. After he's had dinner with his family, they go back into the garage and C-3PO is like, oh, I don't know what's going on, blah, blah, whatever, like feigning innocence as he always does. Luke Skywalker's like, oh man, we've got to find him. But they already know, Luke Skywalker already knows that it's got something to do with the wizard guy, not Dumbledore. Old Ben Kenobi. They have to go through the desert. And that's where the Sandmen operate. And they batter Luke Skywalker, kick his head in. They get startled by a terrifying sight coming in the form of the wizard man going, Obi-Wan Kenobi saves them. Then they go to Obi-Wan Kenobi's house and they have like a really long and boring conversation. And then Obi-Wan Kenobi cracks out the presents. He pulls out this like lightsaber, lets him swing it about in his house. They get the message from R2-D2, from Princess Leia, being all like, Obi-Wan's like, minted, well, we're going then. You better learn how to use your lightsaber if you're going to come with me. Skywalker's like, what? Well, they go to the thing and it's been thingied by the stormtroopers. Skywalker's like, oh my god, if the stormtroopers know that the droids were bought by my aunt and uncle, they're going to have gone there. Obi-Wan Kenobi makes no attempt to stop him from going away. His aunt and uncle are like skeletons, basically. And so they decide to go to Boss Isley. And then Han Solo turns up. I liked his outfit. He had a nice little, he looked a bit like a member of Mumford & Sons. He had like a wee waistcoat on and like an open shirt and stuff. Both of you have gone like that. He was pretty hot. It's Harrison Ford. Obi-Wan and Luke Skywalker are looking for safe passage to Alderaan with the droids. Han Solo's like, right, that's fine, how much are you going to pay me? And then Obi-Wan playing the big guns is like, do you know what, just let's do it and I'll give you 15 and another 2 to sweeten the deal. We are about to leave Mos Eisley. We. Yes, we were in the movie now. The old guy that's like in charge is trying to blackmail Leia by saying, tell us where the rebel base is or we're going to blow up your home planet, which is called Alderaan. And she's all like, you can't do that because we're not even terrorists. Like, we haven't even terrorists. They just blow up. Obi-Wan can feel the destruction of the planet. The tremor in the force. like hundreds of voices screaming out in terror and then instantly being silenced.
I think it's millions. I think it's hundreds.
Hundreds. So they come out at light speed and they expect to see Alderaan. Then they see like a wee spaceship man. And then Obi-Wan's like, that's not a moon. That's the Death Star. They escape being detected by the forces because Han has these little compartments that he hides, like, I don't know, gold and robots and drugs and stuff in when he's smuggling. They go to the room with all the buttons and R2-D2 does this wee like thing. And Obi-Wan's like, hey, I'll need to do this by myself because I'm obviously the most superior person here and I'm the only person that can do this. And then they find out that Princess Leia's there and then Luke's all like, oh, I'm like 15, let's go and save a princess. That's a great f***ing idea. Yes, she says he's too short to be a stormtrooper. Like, as if there's like some height you have to be, like apparently a prerequisite of being in the stormtroopers is height. End up in the garbage.
Then where do they go?
Oh, I can't remember. They have to get back to the spaceship and they go via this ridiculous, like, I don't know who the architect of the Death Star was, but clearly it's the same guy that like designs the levels of Mario, you know, those levels where like it's a castle but there's no floor, and then Obi-Wan sees through the window that everybody else is like getting on to the Millennium Falcon, and so he knows that it's his time to go, and he lets Darth Vader does that and then lets Darth Vader kill him. Luke gets really stressed out because his new friend is dead, even though his aunt and uncle, who he's grown up with for, how old is that guy, like 40 years, died, and he didn't give a shit. He was just like, Menty, time to go on an adventure. They get on the spaceship, they escape, they go to, where do they go? Yavin. Why is all these place names so ridiculous? Yavin. Soft J. That is the base of the Rebel Alliance, not the actual, it's the actual base, not the fake base that Leia told them about. And they all wear orange. They have a big chat, or they have a lecture really, about how they've got to, there's enough room for an individual pilot to go in a tiny teeny wee spacecraft and shoot some kind of laser through a wee hole into the Death Star that's going to destroy it. Seems believable, totally. Luke gets picked to go on this really dangerous mission because he has proved his skills as a pilot, because at home on the moisture farm he was able to shoot small animals from a long range in his space buggy.
T-16 Skyhopper.
T-16 Skyhover. Hopper. Pretty much everyone dies, apart from Luke Skywalker, who obviously gets the right thing in the right hole. Obviously manages to fire his laser pen into like the wee bit, and inevitably destroys the Death Star. It would take more, that thing has the power to destroy, right? Look at the architecture. They have rooms that are so complex that end in sheer drops, right? With bridges that aren't even there half the time, that you've got to have a special button to press in order for it to be there. It's got the power to blow up an entire planet, but somewhere in this amazing design, like in an iPhone, they've got this little hole where if you poke it, it resets it all. You poke it, destroys it. What the, like, that is not a thing. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Polyfill it.
Thanks again to Kerry for agreeing to talk about Star Wars for a long period of time. Well done if you've made it this far. I'm aware this video is a lot longer than they normally are, but you know, it's Star Wars, and Star Wars gets as long as it needs. Infamous 6G6 says, my explanation of Star Wars is a war fought in the stars. I mean, all wars are fought in stars, right? It's just a matter of perspective. You can follow Kerry and myself on Twitter. You can also join the Facebook group and the Tumblr page. I've just blogged my very first written explanation, so do go check that out, especially if you're Jules 1, as it is your question that I answered. Don't forget to click subscribe. You can also like and share this video. It's only polite. Tell your family, tell your friends, and may the Force be with you. Happy Easter, everybody! Bye! 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 Bye!